All right, so we are here with Shawn Decker,
Hi.
who was kind enough or nice enough to be here today. And I I know him only very briefly on LinkedIn, so I'm going to get to know you a little bit better.
Okay.
So, Shawn, you have a new, I guess, venture called Cafe Nouveau Creative. Is that new?
Nouveau Creative was, I created it about 3 years ago
Okay.
as a way of sort of putting myself out into the entertainment industry and
Okay.
showcasing mine and eventually other writers' new original content.
Okay. So, content in writing, you mean script writing?
Screenplays, films, and television, yes.
Nice. So, I assume you're a writer.
Yes. Yes, I am.
Okay. So, basically, you do the writing and then you propose it to filmmakers?
Yeah, so I do the writing, and then the fun part is trying to jump the wall into the entertainment industry.
All
So
right.
that's kind of why I created the LinkedIn profile that we met on.
Yeah.
And I've been networking with several industry executives, sort
On
of
LinkedIn?
trying on LinkedIn. Yes, yeah. Several years ago, I had started writing TV pilots, and I was encouraged by a friend of mine who was supposedly in the industry.
Yeah.
And he said we were moving things forward, and it turns out he wasn't who he said he was.
Oh,
And so I was sort of floundering. I didn't really know what to do, and so I decided that I was going to be very positive about my writing and getting
okay.
it forward. So I started my LinkedIn profile. I started Cafe Nouveau Creative. Cafe Nouveau is an homage to the coffee shop in San Anselmo that all of us kids from Marin hung out at back in the 80s.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, so it's
So
kind
it
of
has a kind of a French notation too.
yes.
Maybe the owner was French. I don't know.
The owner was French, and then that was a place where we wasted our days
Really?
drinking coffee before we were old enough to get into bars. So that's kind of
Wow.
why Cafe Nouveau. So it kind of
Oh,
resonates a little bit
and
for
it's
me.
still there. It exists.
No, it's been gone for a long time.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, so I think it's a
Okay.
bookstore now.
So now it's your name.
Uh, I'm sorry.
It's now it's the name of your
Yeah, so now it's the name of my creative company,
Okay.
and kind of how I'm getting my scripts out into the industry, sort of
So you
representing
took the
myself.
name from the cafe.
Yes, yes.
That's good. That's good. Is the owner still alive? Does he know you took it?
I don't know, and well, I guess we'll find out.
We'll find out. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it doesn't exist anymore. He
Yeah,
doesn't have ownership of the name.
right.
But so, what did you when you were young? What did you write about?
Well, when I was young, I was a drama kid. I went to Redwood High School over in Marin. I
Yeah.
was a drama kid, and I was kind of lazy, so I wouldn't get scenes to do in drama class.
Yeah.
I wouldn't rehearse them, so I would just write my own. So I knew all the blocking and all the language.
Okay.
So the night before my class, I would just write my own scenes, and I got away with it for a few months until my drama teacher realized I was writing my own scenes and passing them off as other writers.
Oh,
So he told me I had to start getting real scenes to do, but he encouraged my writing.
yeah.
He said I was a very talented writer, and so I started to do that. And then life kind of went a different direction. I was a bartender. I've been a corporate investigator for the last 30 years.
So you had exposure to many things.
Yes, exactly. And then several years ago, my youngest son was doing a drama production, and I went to the high school to see it. And I kind of that
And you
spark.
liked it, and you liked it.
Yeah, and I had that spark of where I wanted my life to be, where I had
Okay.
envisioned it when I was in my teens. And my son said, "Well, Dad, it's not too late. Why don't you do it?" And so I had an idea, and I started working on a script, and it was okay. And I worked on another script, and it was all right. And I started learning. I Googled a lot about how to write scripts. You're already a writer, but you have to figure out how to format and
Format it,
everything.
yes.
So I've
So
studied.
1 minute per page.
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. And the proper formatting and everything. So I spent the last 3 years kind of working on the craft, and I've gotten a couple of scripts that I'm very proud of.
Yeah.
They're on script sites like Inktip and Stage 32. They're getting a lot of really good reviews, so I'm very, very positive about moving them forward.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So Cafe Nouveau Creative started 3 years ago. You have already not just your writing, but friends' writing in
Yes.
it.
Yes, I found along the way. I have found a lot of really talented writers, and unfortunately, there's hundreds of thousands of people who want to write.
Okay.
Not all of them are really good, or not all of them are ready at that level. But I've discovered some other writers that are just amazing, and so I've kind of reached out to them and said, we encourage each other. We read each other's writings. We critique what we have and give good positive feedback. And I've met some just amazing writers. There's some incredible talent outside of the entertainment industry, and we're all just sort of moving together, trying to get in
So
there.
it's cafenouveaucreative.com.
Oh, it's only on LinkedIn at the moment is where
Okay,
we're at. We
okay,
haven't
okay.
gone to .com yet.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we cannot find samples of those people there.
Not yet. Well, that's something we're working towards.
Okay,
So
you can create a new website.
yes, that's what we're kind of working on. As the writers and I kind of collaborate, we're all kind of trying to figure out what the website will look like and how we can kind of feature our work together.
Oh, sure,
Yeah.
sure. So you'll have a space for each writer or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Café Nouveau Creative meets in a cafe.
No, we don't.
No?
We're strictly an online community. We have writers, with the exception of a very talented writer here that I work with. Most of them are in New York or Los Angeles or Boston
Oh,
or
how do you connect? Just online?
just online.
Oh,
There's an amazing writer in France, as a matter of fact. Her and I
really?
collaborate a lot. There's a lot of really good script sites like Stage 32, Script Revolution,
Where you
and that's
can
yeah.
look at who you want to work with.
Right, and that's where we find each other and kind of talk about the projects, and we share. Kind of, we
See,
review
correct
each other's.
each other, review
Yes.
each other.
Yes, review each other's and kind of give each other, positive feedback.
So if they are in different time zones, you got to pick a time that's good for all of you.
Mostly we just IM each other.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And then
okay.
email scripts back and forth.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So you don't meet on Zoom or
No.
on one of those platform where you can see each other.
No, not yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Writers tend to be very shy.
okay. No, because I was on a Zoom this week and I could see everybody who was in the meeting. So I thought it would be a good platform for you just now. But
That's
if
a great
you
idea.
just send an instant message at 3 a.m. In France, American time, so you can still see it in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And you see the message on LinkedIn?
LinkedIn and then Stage 32 is where we tend to communicate the most.
Okay.
And these are Stage 32 is sort of an entertainment site. It features screenwriters, actors, producers,
Okay.
which is really good because so we can talk to producers and say, well, would you look at my script and tell me where I need to
Where
be?
I'm at,
Yeah.
where I should improve on.
Exactly. What is a producer looking for in a script? And we can get with actors and say, would you read my script and tell me
Oh,
what you
and they
think?
tell you where are your weak points.
Yeah.
Like you don't know how to put punctuation,
Right, exactly.
something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Which is a big one for me. I'm actually very dyslexic, so I'm the dyslexic writer. So
so you forgot to put the period and a comma.
yes. So thank God for Grammarly and all of the other spell checking and grammar checking sites.
So the good news is you have the ideas.
Yes.
Okay, what's the latest one?
The latest one is called Coach Murphy, and it is a 30-minute dramedy featuring a strong female lead.
Yeah.
It's about a woman who's her and her father was very close, and he died early, early in her life, and so he was a football coach, and so she uses football as a way of reconnecting with him. She played football in junior high school and high school, but was not allowed to play in college. Now she's a housewife and a massive fanatic football fan. She's the fan who screams at the TV on Sundays, tells the coach when they're doing wrong.
And you wrote a script on that?
Yes. And as a
Do you watch football with your wife?
I do. My wife is a massive football fan. She knows way
Okay.
more than I. I'm a
So-
Niners fan.
So that's where you get your inspiration then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, several years ago, I thought I was watching my wife scream at the television. I thought there's a TV show in this, and then I just kind of molded in my head for years. Then I finally sat down and started to write it out.
I never saw a sitcom with people watching football.
No, I
It
don't.
should be done. So this is good because so many millions of people watch football with their families.
Well, especially women. Women are, I think, an untapped football fan base that seem to be ignored.
Yeah, because one time I went to the Giants, and so many women actually are sports fans.
Way more than I think the sports league give credit for. And when I go to football games, there's lots of female football fans, and they're very knowledgeable.
Yeah.
I think there's this idea that women just follow football for the men.
Yeah.
And I think that's untrue. Women are just as passionate about football or any sport as any man can be. So
That's true because my daughter is a sports fan and she loves watching football.
Oh, does she?
Because since she was a baby, she watched football with her dad. So now it stayed with her.
Right.
And she loves football, and I don't understand why she loves it. And now I figured it's because she was exposed to it when she was a baby.
My wife's the same way. That was her and her father's bonding time. Every Sunday and Monday nights, they would watch football together.
With
and they
their
watch
dad?
with the dad. So that was,
Oh.
and that's kind of why Coach Murphy's gotten a lot of great reviews, especially among women and even women who aren't football fans, because it's about what happens to Coach Murphy is, as a publicity stunt, she
Yeah.
becomes the head coach of the team.
Wow.
Yeah, and it turns out she's really good at it. But of course, there's a lot of blowback from the league and the fans and social
But
media.
when you say coach, an actual coach?
Yes, yes.
A woman coach to who? To women or
No,
to men?
no, to a men's football team, to
Oh,
a National League
to
football team.
A women
Yeah.
football team.
Yeah.
Okay. So did you watch the World Cup for women this year?
I did, actually. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge football/soccer
Soccer fan?
but I was very. There was a lot of pride in it this year for the women and for the American
Because
team.
they won,
and-
the American team won.
yes, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that there's the discrepancy between the pay between the men's team and the women's
Yeah,
team.
that was very publicized.
Yes.
And it was sponsored by the San Francisco Recreation Department at the Sue Bierman Park. So it was a large screen, and each time there was the UK or Sweden, the consulate of this country would have a booth there,
Oh, nice.
and the whole park was totally packed.
Oh, it sounds like a blast.
Yeah, so there is like a revival for. I mean, I never saw on a big screen a woman game.
Right.
This is the first time. I mean, I know 2 years ago I watched the World Cup for men, and that was accepted that men would get all that attention
Right.
for soccer World Cup. But for soccer women, that was just the first time they got so much attention.
Yeah, I think it's been underplayed for years, and the men's team has not been as successful as the women's team, and the women haven't gotten the recognition that they deserve for it, I think.
Oh yeah, how did they score 2 years ago? I don't remember. I know
don't
France
either.
won, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now you have a plot,
Yes.
and she's a coach for women.
No. She's actually, so she's a fan of, let's say, like the 49ers.
Yeah.
They've been doing very badly, and
Oh.
and she goes to the game and she just gets frustrated with the fact that the team's always losing, the coach is terrible. So she calls the coach out on a TV show later that night.
Yeah.
And he basically says, "I'm tired of all the bad fans. I quit." And so as a publicity stunt, the marketing department decides to make her the head coach of this national football team. And it's a publicity stunt, but to her, it's a chance to do what she's always dreamed of doing, which is
And
coaching.
she would get all that attention,
Yes.
and they would get the attention.
Exactly. And she does win, but the problem is that a lot of the attention she gets is very negative. About a woman and a fan, being a leader in a male-dominated sport. So that's kind of the crux of it. It's more of a dramedy than a sitcom, and it's about her journey and the team's journey and her family's journey through this crazy situation she gets placed into.
And does she actually coach?
Oh yeah, she coaches.
She's gonna do it.
Yes, she's going to do it, and she's going to take him to a wild card game in her first season.
Oh, she is. Okay,
Yes.
so she's actually not just faking
No.
for the publicity stunt.
Right. And the thing I like is it's for women, it's a chance to show that they can succeed in this sport.
In that field.
But it's a fan as well. That the fans are always yelling plays at the TV on Sundays.
yeah.
Well, now's a fan's chance to actually coach those plays and prove that they are better than. And a lot of things.
So it's a woman who's coaching a U.S. team.
Yes.
Did you say women?
No, men.
Man,
So it's a men's.
It's
like the
never
NFL.
It's never been seen before then.
Nope. It's a very original concept.
Oh, okay. Now I get it. Now I get it.
Right.
So because it's a woman for a men's team, wow,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things going on if a woman is the coach.
Exactly. And so, you've got the pushback because it's a woman, because it's someone who didn't rise up through the ranks. You'll get we're going to go through the social media attacks and just the craziness of our political society and the way we treat women post 2016. So there's a lot going on in it, but it's gotten the best reviews out of all the scripts that I have, and it's my passion project.
Wow, I like it already. I mean, it's such a great idea, actually, because who would have thought
Exactly.
to put a woman with a men's team? I mean, men are supposed to be above the women, right? So when you put someone who's supposed to be above the men, that's you gotta take it, right?
Exactly.
So you're gonna find the players and the coach for that?
Well, what we're trying to do right now is we're actually trying to get it in front of a production. We're trying to get it to a production company that's looking for original content.
Yeah, it definitely is original.
Yeah, there's a great, with all the streaming services, there's a great desire for content.
Yeah.
But the problem for writers as myself that aren't established yet, it's getting that out to that.
Oh,
So
of
that's where we're
course.
at.
Of course.
I'm getting a lot of hits on Inktip, which is where my scripts are being hosted right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited.
So, at what stage is your script done? Like halfway?
So the pilot has been written and rewritten and rewritten and rewritten, and
Yeah.
it's in its final stage. And there's a synopsis for the first season.
Yeah.
Each episode mapped out is where we're going to go with the first season, and it's pretty much ready to go. Just
Okay.
looking for somebody who's willing to take it on.
And Coach Murphy, what's her first name?
Christine.
Oh my God. Well, you know what's good about you being here today is that nobody can steal your idea because this is going to be copyrighted because it's your way of protecting the idea. You're going to say,
Perfect.
look, I was in front of a witness.
Right.
So if you steal my idea, we got you.
Right.
No, but this is a good way for you to protect it.
And
actually.
it's also WGA registered. It's
Oh,
registered
it
with the
is
Writers Guild
also?
of America.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
That was the very first thing I learned as a scriptwriter. Register everything.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so.
No, because especially with the original idea like this, which is really, I never heard of it. I used to sell movies, by the way.
Okay.
But this is really original ideas. So you don't want someone stealing the
Right.
idea over the internet.
Yeah, exactly. And you read a lot about people either stealing or plagiarizing, and I've done a lot of research. It's a lot less than people say. I've posted the script on LinkedIn a few times and had people say, take it down, someone's going to steal it. I don't worry about that so much because it is a very original concept, and if
Yeah.
anyone were to try and take it,
They won't do it
Yeah.
exactly like you want it done.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Plus, if someone did try to steal it, that's kind of like, well, I must be good if you're stealing from me.
Yeah, that's a compliment, right?
Exactly.
It depends how you look at it. So, but I think Americans don't really usually steal. I think it's like a country to another country.
Right.
Because they know you can't sue them in another country. So, but within United States, you are protected.
Yes, absolutely.
And hopefully it will be on the screen before anybody gets the idea to steal it from
Right.
you
Exactly.
in a European country. So is this going to be like a movie with a lot of actors? Because you got to have two teams and you're going to have the fans. So you're going to have a huge cast.
So the cast it would be fairly large. There's Christine Murphy, her family, her husband, her two children, a couple of friends, the team. But the team is really focused on about 5 or 6 players.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of, like, if you ever watched Ballers on Showtime, it's kind of the same
So
concept.
you're not going to show an actual game.
There'll be bits and pieces of the game.
There might be.
Yeah. There'll be
Okay.
bits and pieces of the game, and you can shoot the fans like a section of fans,
Yeah.
and make it seem as if it's an entire stadium.
Wow.
And I'm looking at it as a TV show. I've got the first 13 episodes mapped
It could
out.
be an episode, a show. So 13, that's a lot.
Well, that's what I have mapped out because that's the traditional. When I first started writing, I was thinking of ABC, NBC, Fox, the traditional.
Yeah.
But as I've been writing, I really think more of like Netflix, Showtime, HBO,
Oh,
Hulu,
you can.
all of these other
Yes.
streaming services.
Yes,
that,
you can. Okay, so once you do your pilot, then one of them will pick it up.
I'm hoping.
Okay. But first, we got to do the actual movie, correct?
Well, no. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for a production company interested in the project.
Oh, okay.
And go from there. If I actually, well, what's interesting about Coach Murphy is it's been picked up by graduate film students for Savannah Academy of Art and Design, and they used it as their final project.
Really?
And what they did was they did what the call sheet would look like, the shooting sheet, and then they also did what the budget would be. And the budget they came up with was about $2 million an episode. I think it's actually less than that, but it was fun to watch students take my creation and work with it as if they were producing it
Which
themselves.
school is that?
Savannah School of Design.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Because there's also the Academy of Art College who has a program on movie makers.
Right. Well, what was interesting about Savannah was that they found my script without contacting me. They found it on some of the script pages and then contacted me and said, we'd like to use this as our final project.
Okay.
And that was very exciting.
Okay, so so now you kind of done your pilot, and if someone accepts it, then you'll work on the other 12.
Right. Yeah.
Is that the idea?
Yeah.
But you have an idea of what these other will be.
Yeah, the first 13 episodes are mapped out as to how the progression
It's gonna develop.
The show actually starts, the pilot starts with Coach Murphy coaching the wild card game, and then we flash back to that first day when she's still a fan. And then what we do is we follow her as the fan becoming the coach to the wild card game at the end of the season.
Okay, doesn't a coach become a coach after being a player himself or herself?
Yep.
So she was a player herself?
She was a player in high school, but she wasn't allowed to go into college because most women football players, and there's several high school female football players who aren't accepted in college. As a matter of fact, just this past year, the very first female football player was accepted into a college football program.
Okay.
So they're moving that way. So yeah, they take a fan who is a super football fan, and they make her the coach as a publicity stunt, but she's good at it, and they can't ignore her when she starts winning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so she became known as someone to use as a coach.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's awesome. So that's being created, and while you create that, you meet still online. I mean, while you find someone to take up the idea, you still meet online to work on maybe the subsequent episodes.
Not at the moment. Mostly what I'm doing, I'm actually working on other projects. I have another show that I wrote that's a 30-minute crime drama called Internal Affairs.
Oh.
And it's about a newly formed internal affairs unit in the police department in a very corrupt police department that actually goes after bad cops. And I use some of my experience as a corporate investigator for that. And I'm working on another project at the moment, kind of keeping my mind occupied. I can't talk about it because it's not registered yet.
Of course.
But I just keep writing.
So there is another project in the back of your mind?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You never stop writing.
So you may as well get your son also to brainstorm with you.
I'm trying to get him. He has decided to get out of acting for a while, and he's pursuing other things. But I'll be up in Portland visiting with him next week, so I'm very excited.
Yeah, I mean, especially family, you can, brainstorm freely because you're not afraid to say something out of place or whatever because it's family, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you can brainstorm without having to pay by the minute or
Exactly.
without using him as a consultant or anything like
Right.
that. It's family.
And he's brutally honest, so that's good.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
He
So you'll be able to pick each other's brains and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So what stage of his education is he? Like he's already graduated?
He's graduated from high school. He's taking a few years off to kind of find himself.
Okay.
And I'm trying to nudge him towards college, but I didn't go to college, so it's hard for me to...
He wants to be in the production part?
He doesn't really know what he wants to do right now. He's doing a lot of work with unions.
Okay.
So he's kind of going in a different direction. He's very talented. He's a very talented writer. So I'm trying to encourage him to keep up with that. But
they need people this weekend for Outside Lands Music Festival.
Oh, really?
So a lot of union people get called to service that festival.
Oh, okay.
Because it's sold out. But I don't know what kind of union he is. He is like for events?
Service workers, so fast food workers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
well, they need those outside lands.
I imagine.
But maybe he can come over to San Francisco because we have so many events in the summer.
I'm trying to get him to come down. So he's a Portland guy. He loves Portland, and Portland
because a lot of green. A lot of trees.
Yeah.
He likes that. Okay.
Yeah, it's the Portland scene. We lived in Portland for a while. It's a beautiful city. I love it. San Francisco is my home, but Portland is a nice place to visit.
Oh yeah. I went through it coming down from Seattle to California, but I heard it's a very nice city.
That's gorgeous.
But it's a little bit smaller than here, correct?
You can walk the entire city in 15 minutes.
Oh,
so it is kind of tiny.
Okay, so 500,000 maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a small town.
Yeah.
Beautiful town.
We didn't reach 1 million yet here. I mean, we have 930,000. We didn't reach the million. But with the suburbs, we are over that.
Yes, yes.
So where are you located in the East Bay?
I live in Walnut Creek
Oh,
currently.
okay, okay.
The nice little safe city of Walnut Creek, but
It's a family city?
it's a very family city. Yeah, it's very nice, but I'm more of a city boy. My wife and I used to live over in Lake Merritt, and we love
Okay.
that area. So I think we're going to move
Oh,
back there.
beautiful,
Beautiful,
beautiful.
and a lot of arts and culture over
Yes,
there. It's
yes,
just a
yes.
gorgeous. It's a
I
great.
love Lake Merritt. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's just a great community to be a part of.
Yeah, so that's great. Maybe you can open an actual cafe. Why
I'm
not?
thinking about it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
open an actual cafe, invite the artists,
Mm-hmm.
invite, have one night for open mic,
Mm-hmm.
like they do. Have you been to Cafe International here?
I have, but it's been a while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
every Saturday they have open mics,
Mm-hmm.
but that's for people who do ad libs and musicians, whatever,
Yeah.
poets. But yeah, I mean, you can structure your cafe as you like, maybe just for writers.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have a few of them here too. I mean, I think on Valencia there is one. So it was good to chat with you. I like your idea actually.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I mean, I didn't know what it was when I invited you.
Right.
But it's great idea. I look forward to actually see how it turns out and maybe watch it on TV. It's going to be a TV show.
That's what I'm looking for. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, okay. And maybe after the TV show, it'll be an actual movie.
We'll see. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you never know how things turn
I
out.
have another movie idea in mind, but again, I can't talk about it
Of
because it's not
course.
registered yet. But I have a lot of ideas,
Oh.
and I think the thing I love about writing is I've spent years with ideas in my head, just formulating them, the characters and the plots. It was when I finally sat down and started writing them that I got the most joy. When I
Oh.
finally started going, it's time to stop thinking about it and start actually doing it. So
Oh, okay. Maybe we can touch since this show is all about your profession. You mentioned something that intrigued me. So you were also an investigator.
that's
I
sort
never
of
interviewed.
that's my day job actually. Yes.
Okay, I never interviewed an investigator.
Okay.
Can you tell us what is your job about?
Sure. So I work for private companies,
Yeah,
mostly retail.
yeah.
If an employee has stolen something from the company, I'm the person who shows up to talk to them about it.
Ah,
And I'm the person who gets them to confess what they did.
they took maybe a piece of the software.
Or they stole money, or they
They
took
could? They
clothing.
could?
Yeah, things like that. I just actually interviewed someone the other day who had stolen some merchandise. So
Oh.
I also do.
Is it possible to detect these things?
Yeah, it's fairly easy.
How? I mean, maybe they scan it.
Well, there's the register, so we have cameras and we have reports.
Oh, you have cameras.
And
Okay.
then we get confidential tips a lot
Oh,
too.
okay, okay.
And I also conduct HR investigations in reference to sexual harassment, workplace violence,
Within-
retaliation, things like that. So
So you try to be the peacemaker there?
not so much the peacemaker as I go in, I try to figure out what happened and figure
Oh.
out who's telling the truth.
Okay, so do you try to negotiate something between the employer and employee?
Oh no, that's someone else does that. I simply go and gather information. So I'm just an
Okay.
investigator.
Okay.
I just ask the questions. I write the report. I try to determine who's telling me the truth and who's not telling me the truth, and then try to determine what really happened.
So sometimes they admit it.
Most 90% of the time, I'm pretty good.
Okay.
I'm very friendly.
Oh, okay. You
I-
tell them, oh, listen, there's no reason for you to hide because we
Yep.
have proof.
Hmm.
And then they say, all right, then.
Yes.
All right. And then it goes into some kind of amicable settlement or whatever.
I have them write out for me what happened, and then I turn that over to another department, and they handle it from
So
that
must
point.
be pretty big companies then.
Yeah. Fortune 500 companies.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Because to hire an investigator, you need funds, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, you gave me an idea of what your job is about. So that must be also intriguing. I mean, there's always a plot behind it.
Oh yes.
Do they always tell you the reason why they did it? Maybe to pay medical expenses or something.
Generally, yeah. It's the interviews themselves can be very emotional because you do find out a lot about a person's personal life and the things that drove them to it.
There is a reason.
Yeah, and I'm very sympathetic. I can be sympathetic to the person and what they're going through, not the action, but I feel bad for a lot of people
Oh,
because
you
they
have
are.
empathy for them.
Yes.
Okay, because there's always a motive,
Yeah.
and you try to see if you can work out something and not make them feel like too guilty about it, you know?
Right, and what I try to do is I try to let them know that they're a good person. Really, they just made a mistake. And then there's been a lot of people, even recently, where because I found out their situation after we had the conversation, I
Yeah.
would tell them how to help themselves, how to go out and get benefits and things like that to help them get through what is a very difficult time.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, because some people sometimes are in a bind
Yes.
and they don't know what to do. Or they're about to lose their house.
That has happened as well.
If they lose their job, they're about to lose their house.
I've been noticing a lot of people are homeless, and they're working in these companies. They're homeless. They're sleeping in their cars, and that causes them to do things that they know they shouldn't
They
do.
usually don't do.
Yeah.
They wouldn't do.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, there's many, factors behind a person' actions. Sometimes they stay up at night and they try to find how to solve the problem, and this is like their last resort kind of thing.
yeah. And that experience has helped me with my other script, Internal Affairs, and the other script that I'm working on.
Oh,
as
you're
well.
also working on that?
Yeah,
Okay.
so Internal Affairs has a lot of the my law enforcement and my investigation experience in that script.
Oh,
as
yeah,
well,
because
so.
it's all recorded in the back of your mind.
And it's kind of my homage to the fact that we have a lot of incidents with police officers
Oh, yeah.
and people of color that
Yeah.
doesn't end well, and there doesn't seem to be any accountability. So this is sort of I kind of came up with Internal Affairs as my frustration out of
What's happening out there.
what's happening out there, and to write a story about. It's kind of interestingly enough, there's never been a cop show about the Internal Affairs unit. All the cop shows are always about the beat cops or the detectives.
Oh, yeah.
So I wanted to show an Internal Affairs unit that actually does go after bad cops.
So many of them put people in jail that don't need to be there.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So
We should have a show where we could investigate the cops.
that's kind of what this one's about. So
because the
yeah.
cops usually get away with it. They have immunity.
Yes, exactly. So
So they
that's
can do the most horrible things and have an excuse for it.
right. I mean, the majority of police officers are good people, but it's that few that seem to get away with it that I think is really frustrating people today.
I agree.
And
I
that's,
agree.
That's
I
kind of where I
agree.
came from. That I wanted to show that the good cops are the ones who go after the bad cops.
Oh, I hope so. I hope
Me too.
so. So you're gonna be the good cop after the bad cop?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Okay, well, I enjoyed chatting with you about your many activities. And if you ever open a cafe in the East Bay, I'll come visit.
I will let you know.
Thank you.
Thank you.